One of the things that I think is great about you is you're very direct. So, who will you and who won't you work with, and what does that look like to you? Because people need to understand the minimum that someone needs to have that conversation with you, and ongoing to be able to work with you.
The first thing is you have to have an open mind.
Mm,
Understand that this is not personal. Anything that I say to you about your book, it's not me calling your newborn ugly. It really isn't. I promise you it's not. But I gotta be honest with you. You want to
yeah,
make money, right? So let me
yeah,
show you the things, the tweaks. We're not gonna change you or how you say, oh, we're going to clean it up, put lipstick on the pig. We're going to make it presentable to the audience that you're trying to reach. You can't use a certain language with an individual that doesn't understand that language and think that you're going to
yeah.
get that message across. So that's what we're
Mhm.
here to do. We polish up the message to get it presentable for the audience that you're looking to attract. That's all. That's it.
Nice.
That's the only way to describe it. We're a hybrid publisher, meaning that we pick a piece. There's a piece that we control that's just like every other publisher, but we are different because we're going to give you the secret sauce. Now it's up to you to do something with it. We're going to
Mm,
walk you through the first time. So if you're willing to walk with us and do the process, that's fine. But the investment of the money is what sets them apart.
yeah,
When we
yeah.
tell them how much it costs to work with us, you're dealing with professionals. You're coming out with a professional product, but you're getting so much support over the time that you'll be working with us. It's invaluable. And then you
Mm.
get an actual marketing plan in your hand that you could walk away with and duplicate it again at any time. You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
No, no. Someone that's able to give you a template that you can build off of is beyond valuable, especially if the template is something that is custom to that person and it allows them to be able to go, all right, well, here's the things that changed. So all these are the little things that I would need to tweak in order to make the same template work for this situation and for this situation and this situation. And when you add in the access that you're giving them to all of these other people and these other things that need to be covered to cover that full spectrum, it's a completely different world. Okay, so you mentioned helping people figure out how to be able to get their word out. Let's talk about ghostwriting because there's a price attached to it. Help people understand why that number isn't negotiable because I don't think most people understand what ghostwriting actually requires. There's a lot of work that goes into that because now you're telling someone else's story for them.
Right. But you got to think about the amount of time that you have to sit with that individual. And then when that individual mentions another individual, you have to go sit with that
Jeez.
individual
Yeah.
because everybody's version of said situation is different because everybody sits in a different perspective. So you don't know how many people, and then it may not be just one time. You
Hmm.
might have follow-up questions. You've done research and now you need to ask them questions about something else to do. This is such an in-depth process that requires so much detail and attention to detail. Like, I don't want to say, oh, well, she said that this happened in 1979 when in fact it happened in 1949. And now the whole story is thrown off and now the whole book makes no sense.
Right.
So the amount of time and detail that goes into it is worth every penny. Because not only is it just conveying your story, but it's making sure that it's done in a dignified manner. Because you don't just want to be out here loosely just using terms to describe people that's inaccurate. You open
Hmm.
yourself up for liability. So there's things that
Yeah.
we have to consider on the back end, like are we making allegations? Are we just saying stuff? Do we actually have the proof to verify whatever it is that we're saying? This might be your story, but you still have to understand that there may be legal repercussions that come behind the way you choose to tell your story. You can say it,
Yes.
but maybe we need to use these words versus these words. So I would definitely say ghostwriting is so much more than writing. And that term is just, it doesn't really encompass everything that goes into it. It is so much more to it than that.
I imagine it's one of the most difficult. Because it's you have to be able to not only pull the story out of them, but you also have to police it. So I one of the things when you were saying that, it made me think about people saying, "Well, I'm gonna tell my story." And I'm like, "Your story is your version. Is there someone else out there that has their version of it? And now it's now I have to start thinking about words like allegedly.
Right. But you gotta
Like,
think about the right questions to ask because everybody doesn't ask the same questions.
yeah,
Some of us ask deeper questions, more interesting, more probing questions than others do.
yeah,
Like, well, what did you have for breakfast this morning? Versus, so what delighted your taste buds this morning? What did you partake in? I mean, like just saying it that way, it makes you feel
phrasing, yeah,
something versus,
yeah,
"What did you eat for breakfast this morning?" That's like, "Eh, I had a donut and some coffee." It draws you in. So,
yeah.
by that, it gives you a little more, "Hey, let's go and see what they're doing over there."
Mhm.
Marketability versus you, "I gotta get this story out. This story has to be I gotta tell it," like, when you try to force the story down people's throat, it doesn't generally work.
No.
You entice people in. Sugar. You sweeten it and you bring them into you. So, ghostwriting is your way of explaining your side without pounding it down their throat. This is what happened. This is how, but you're telling it with respect to everybody involved in the situation, giving everybody the grace that they need to manage whatever it is that we're discussing in said book. So,
Okay.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I the more we're talking about it, the deeper I realize there's layers and levels to it that we can cover, but there's also layers and levels that people need to understand going into it. The natural segue for me, while I was listening to you talk about that, was to start thinking about the level of people that say, "I want to write a book," but they also say that they're private people at the same time. So when you're saying, "I gotta pull all of this information out of you," if they're looking at themselves as a private person, then there's complications. Like, how do you work around someone saying that they're private, but they still want to be able to write a book? Like, what do you actually say to them? And I feel like you partially answered it by saying, I have to figure out how to be able to phrase a question to get the information out of them that I need to be able to get. But I'm assuming that there's more to it.
Oh, if you're a private person and you wanna write a book, that's why they is always based on a true story. Go
Mm,
for it. Knock yourself out. You could say she was a witch and call her every name in the book. Knock it. It's based on a true story. That means don't use any names and you can just run loose. Do your thing. Now, that doesn't mean that there may not be repercussions. You still got to tone it down a bit, but it
hmm.
gives you that creative license to be able to go a little bit farther. Because I mean, I personally don't believe in vampires as they depict them. I do believe in
Yeah.
vampires, but not with the T. I don't. But
Mm,
because of the way that we had that creative license to be able to say that the vampire roamed the streets in the dark, we can say
hmm.
that without liability versus you calling somebody that. And now you're looking at a
Yeah.
liable.
Yeah.
So, it gives you a little more leeway to be able to tell your story or just call it a straight fiction story and then just go buck wild.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, there's so many ways to do it, and then too, if that's the part that you really feel like is so personal, then don't mention it.
True.
Everything is
True.
not always told, or if you do, gloss over it.
Yeah. Yeah, my mind went to some interviews where people say, "Oh, I'm saving that for the story. I'm saving that for my book." It means that you haven't fully figured out how to be able to say what you want to be able to say without getting sued or something.
But
And you're like, "Yeah, I need to talk to a professional that can tell me how to be able to frame that in a way that's not
yeah,
going to have me in trouble when I explain it the way that I want to explain it." So, yes, I love the based
no,
on a true story because every time I see that, my thing is, okay, there's this person's truth, and the truth. And when you're finding that, trying to figure out that gray area somewhere in between, I love that there are things like based on true events or based on this or based on that, that allow people to have that little extra wiggle room for them to be able to tell their version of something and leave room for the other person if they want to. They can go and put something out there and see if they want to be able to respond without necessarily making it clear that that's who they're responding to. Because why tell on yourself when if they didn't mention your name, don't mention your name.